Another day, another great weekend. And just like that intro said, yep, I'm Brain Slater. Today is Monday, September 4th. It's September now, and we got an early look at how college football new rules took in effect. That's the title of this week's episode. New rules, the right move. I'll go over that here in just a little bit, but we had college football. There's college football every day this week. From Thursday all the way up until today. There is a game tonight, Clemson versus Duke, but I'll get to that in just a little bit. But first, we had a great game on Saturday. Well, a lot of people expected it to be a blowout, but it turned out to be an actual good game. And I am not surprised by that. A lot of people are quite surprised. I am. And sorry about the wind. It's pretty windy out here today. But Colorado pulling up a big upset over number 17 TCU, 45-22. And first, let me just say this. My rankings, I didn't have either one of these ranked. And I did say that the winner, I didn't say will be ranked in my rankings, but has a good chance depending on how well they played. And I will say this. Well, I'm still waiting to see how Duke and Clemson does tonight. But based on my thoughts right now, based on what I feel like, Colorado is not going to be in my rankings for week 2. But there are so many great teams ahead of them. I want to give them see. I want to really know, was it just TCU having a bad game and Colorado just showed up? Or is Colorado really that great of a team? So I want to see one more week. If they got Nebraska next week, if they could beat Nebraska, sure, I'll go ahead and rank them. But I have them at 26 in my rankings. Or what? I mean, I haven't finalized my rankings again. I'm waiting to see how Clemson does tonight, but that's likely where I'll have them, just out of my rankings. But yeah, big win. TCU's not the team they were last year at all, but we'll find out next week how great Colorado is against Nebraska. Another big game that night, Saturday night, West Virginia versus Penn State. It was close. The first half was close. But until Penn State totally took over. They won 38-15, and be sure to check out Down and Distance tomorrow because somebody, their quarterback is this week's Player of the Week. So might want to check out Down and Distance tomorrow. I got a good 30-minute show. It possibly might be longer than 30 minutes. Been a while since we had a 30+ minute episode on YouTube, but yeah, I got a good show planned for Down and Distance tomorrow. I'll talk more about that later on, but time for my favorite new segment, or really not new, but new name, but yeah, Slater Podcast. I love doing this segment. Me. Let's take a quick look at some memes. Here we go. Air Jordan in football, basically. This was Minnesota. This is almost pretty much, I wouldn't say the game-winning touchdown, but this sealed the deal for Minnesota to beat Nebraska. What a catch. I mean, you could put it side by side against next to Air Jordan's logo. Yeah, that's an air catch right there. What? I should have looked up his name to do air blank or whatever. But wow, he really nailed that perfectly. And yeah. Rudolph, in the post-game interview, whatever, looks depressed, as always. I expect him to look like that after losing your first game. But, yeah, take a close look at the sponsorship. Buckle up, phones down. Yeah, that's who's sponsoring Nebraska football this year. Or especially I guess their post-game conference, but, I think it's kind of funny and weird. I mean, buckle up, phones down. Okay. Yeah, the safety thing, but I mean, also, probably tell Nebraska they should do that too. They should buckle on down and put their buckle up, put their phones down, and start playing the game. That's all I gotta say about that. But another Nebraska thing. Yeah, Nebraska's doing again where, oh wow, the whole first 3 quarters they had the lead. They had the lead to start the 4th quarter. Classic Nebraska. Looks like they're gonna win this game. Oh no, they lose the lead in the 4th quarter. Oh no, they lost the game. What? Yes, that stat is so crazy. 25 1-point losses, 16 second half blown leads, most by any team in the FBS. That's just last season. Add another one to that. And then, here we go, and pretty much an important part of the game. This is, well, I mean, it's 4th down. I mean, the 4th quarter, 6 seconds left. I mean, I guess it's not really that important, but you want to get some refs in. Take a look. Count how many players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Florida's got 8 special team players out there to block Utah's field goal. I mean, when you think that, in a game like this, I know you probably won't gonna win this, but I mean, seriously. I mean, really? You're not going to put enough players in? I could see 10, putting 10 players in, but 8? Really? Someone has given up on that team, and it's only week 1. Wow. And then, the Big 12 has posted, before the game week started, basically, alright, so here's all the coaches for non-conference, you know, they're all dressed up nice, you know, what school the head coaches, school they go for, and then what channel and time that they're playing at, and look at all of them, and just look at Mike Gundy. Someone didn't get the memo that you're supposed to wear a suit and tie, I guess, but, yeah. But, I mean, he did win Saturday compared to all the others, but, yeah. I don't get it. And he's got his arm crossed, too. I mean, what's up with that? I mean, he did win, barely, but, I mean, yeah. I wouldn't, well, I guess not barely, but, I mean, he struggled the first half, but finally got things together in the 4th quarter. But, I mean, seriously? I mean, how do you manage to do that? That's kind of embarrassing for him. Also, the ACC now has Stanford in the ACC, so add another S logo to their conference. So, yeah, they now have 3 schools with pretty much the same letter S. NC State, Syracuse, and Stanford. That's kind of pretty funny. I think that's funny. Anyway, I mean, not official yet, but anyway, here, take a look at the next one. Mac Brown beat South Carolina, and I'll get to those that game here in just a little bit. But Mac Brown, that win was his 100th career win. And look at that, he did a little dance too, and he get his own jersey too. But yeah, what an accomplishment for Mac Brown. And then yeah, this. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Yeah, I don't have anything to say. Yeah. Trash can on a field. All right. And then, well, the Ducks put up 81 points. Yep, and tradition that their mascot does push-ups every time. So basically, after the last touchdown, 81 push-ups. So he does push-ups based on the amount of points they currently have after each touchdown, after each score. He did 546 push-ups that night. Wow, that's incredible. And then one last one for you. I feel so sorry for whoever Michigan is doing this for, putting up a number 4. Yeah, he must have been a great player or family member I'm so sorry for Michigan. I don't know who it is, but yeah, I all respect to them, the Michigan fan base. But yeah, what are they doing? Seriously, I don't think Harbaugh didn't die, right? He confused a lot of people. They acted like he died. No, you just gotta 3 or 4 games is finished. I still don't even. They still haven't figured it out. It's 3 or 4, but NCAA suspending him for 4 games. Their own school self-imposed suspending him for 3 games. So I know the players doing it, but it's self-imposed means that he suspended himself. So yeah, that is so stupid. Anyway, yeah, to the game I was talking about. North Carolina and South Carolina. Yeah, 31-17. What a win. What a win for Mac Brown. They couldn't not figure out how to, yeah. Spencer Rattler could not figure out how to get there. He could not pass at all. It was just the running game that South Carolina had. He could not get the ball in the air. They did a completely good job at stopping Spencer Rattler in his last year in college football. And here's some other big close games that I want to mention. Houston wins their first game in the Big 12. Well, I mean, not conference, but still. And then Oklahoma State, it was close, but they got it done in the 4th quarter. All right, here we go. Just under 50 minutes left until kickoff. Clemson and Duke. Monday Night Football. Well, Monday Night College Football. Monday Night Football starts next week. But number 9, Clemson versus Duke. This is going to be a big game, and my rankings will release immediately concluding, well, I guess not immediately, but you know what I mean, just following the end of this game. Clemson is a 13-point favorite. Game kicked off at 7 o'clock, and I cannot wait to see this one. It's on ESPN. I think Duke will show up. It's going to be pretty much just like all the other big games. First game of the season, they're usually close until they actually find a rhythm in the second half. Make second half adjustments, and just we'll see how it goes. Make second half adjustments, and they find a way to win those games. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Clemson responds after this, and maybe we'll see. I think we'll see. Definitely, I think they had a new quarterback, or their backup quarterback starting this year. But we'll see. I think Duke will show up the first half, and Clemson will take over. All right, let's take a look at the main topic for this episode: new rules in college football for 2023. The first one is consecutive timeouts. So teams will no longer have the ability to call timeouts back-to-back between plays. So let's say that you're trying to ice the kicker. You can call one timeout, and then you go back out there. You can't call another one. You have to, if you want to call another timeout, you have to let another play go. So basically, you need to still have a timeout. If you call, let's say, you call a timeout, you go back on the field, even though you might still have a timeout available. If you see something else wrong, well, I mean, you just had a timeout, so you can't do it. I mean, the other team can call a timeout, but you can until another play goes, and then you have the ability to call a timeout. You still have one. So that's it. I mean, I kind of like it. Keeps the game flowing. I like it. Not bad. And then there's another one that I'm fine with, not extending quarters. But this one was, at first when I first, I was like, that doesn't make any sense until I saw, oh, it's for the first and third quarter. So let's say that, the end of the first quarter, team throws the ball downfield. Oh boy, pass interference, but the clock's at 0. And the flag down, like, oh, pass interference, defense, number blah, 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 15-yard penalty, or something at the spot of the foul. We'll replay the play will be, and they'll say something about, all right, the quarter's over, we'll redo the down at the start of the second quarter. Or the start of the fourth quarter if it happened in the third quarter, something like that. But if it happened in the second quarter or in the fourth quarter, then they would just redo that down and then do an untimed down in that quarter. If it's at the end of the half, they'll redo the down. If it's still in the first or the third quarter, they'll just do that play to start the next quarter. So that's pretty much it. I'll see how it goes. I haven't really seen, it hadn't taken effect in this year, so I really don't have much to say about this. But this next one has really frustrated social media. But the running clock. Alright, so this one. The clock will continue to run after an offense gains a first down, except in the 2 minutes of each half. So let's say, normally in college football rules, you all know that, get a first down, the clock stops until, the ball is spotted. Well, now it's going to continue to run, except when it's under 2 minutes in the third and the second or the fourth quarter. Which, at first I was like, okay, they just want to get the game going. I don't really think, at first I was like, that's going to hurt some players. At first I was like, that's not going to, it might hurt a little bit, but at first and third quarters are really kind of selling in anyway too. So I was like, I'm fine with that. And then they go back to that and after 2 minutes left in each half, and I was like, okay, I'm totally fine with that because it's the most intense part of the game. Well, apparently, after the week 0 and week 1, the games have been just as long. Maybe some games have been slightly shorter, but also some, CBS mainly, has been using that extra time to run commercials. Yep, and also, I'll probably play this here on American Game Tape, but Chip Kelly had a funny thing saying. He's saying, well, I hope you guys are making your money off commercials because I only have something about this amount of plays that I only ran this amount of plays, and that's the lowest I've ever done, or whatever, something about that. But anyway, I thought that interview was kind of funny. But if you're gonna shorten the time and do that, the game's better end shorter. If they end at the same time, I want that time back. I look at the stats. It's seriously an hour, on an average of the games this week. Either over or around an hour of ad time per game. That's a lot. That's an hour of no entertainment. And games are about, and these networks put a 3.5 window for these games. So maybe you take out some of the commercials, the game went in shorter, I guess. Or just, how about, if you want the game to end shorter, how about less commercials? And then if the game ends earlier than expected, you could do those post-game or, those studio shows that show commercials during then and make up your money there. I guess that's my point. But at first, I really haven't seen it. I really haven't noticed it too much. I guess CBS, I've noticed it a lot more commercials on CBS than any other network. But I really need to see it more over for the next couple of weeks to really see if it makes a difference. All right. Back to some big games over the weekend, or on some points is what I'm titling this segment. But Oklahoma put up 73 points over Arkansas State, shutout. Oregon put up 81 points over Portland State. Yeah, almost a shutout. They did allow a touchdown, but close. But what a complete blowout, shutout, basically for both these two. These were probably the most, I gotta say, most perfect teams all week long. And the next game, oh boy, this one is gonna be a fun one. LSU and Florida State. This was a fun one to watch last night. I can't believe it. Here's the halftime score. It was 17-14. LSU had complete control. I'll show you the comparison stats here in just a minute. But if you look at it, Florida State barely passed the 50. Most of their playtime was in their own in the first half was on their own sideline, or I mean on their own field. Basically, LSU got in the red zone every time. But here's the thing: LSU had like 4th and 1, 4th and 2. They went for it. Florida State got the stop. That's where defense made the difference. They actually scored off of one of the touchdowns that they got the stop off of, and they were in field goal range, good field goal range in both the possessions. If they would have kicked the field goals in both those times, LSU would have been up 23-7 at half. 23-7 at half. I know, right? That's a big lead for LSU. But now, let's take a look at the final score. Yeah, you see that? Florida State got things together. They talked, made halftime adjustments, took over. They finally figured out how to get into LSU side, and not only just LSU side, the red zone, not only field goal range, but the red zone and the end zone, and they had a blast finding the end zone. It was quite a game. 45-24, and remember, put LSU, give them 6 points, take 7 points off Florida State. Well, hold on, I'm thinking, give me a second. 26, 27, 20, 29, 30. Yeah, that 30 to, like, well, I mean, Florida State still would have won, but it would have been a lot closer, and possibly, well, with that lead LSU had at halftime, I think it would have been a lot closer. LSU probably would have won the game if they would have kicked those 2 field goals. I mean, they might have missed if they didn't feel confident about their field goal, but still, I mean, come on. Florida State still probably would have won. I mean, but LSU, I really think Florida State would have had, LSU would have had a better chance of winning that game if they kicked those 2 field goals. Anyway, here's the comparison. Yeah, it was pretty close, except for when you look at penalties. Yeah, Florida State had a lot of late hits, in the first half. That's actually what killed Florida State's early in the first half and gave LSU that early lead. And that's one reason why I think that Florida State won this game, because they cleared it up. I don't think they didn't have very many penalties in the second half, and that's how they figured out to play better defense, stop LSU. They got a turnover. They forced 2 turnovers that game. They actually went for they scored a touchdown off of going for it on 4th down, and I was really thinking, this is when I was like, and I even thinking they need to go for this. This is when they went for it when it was close enough where they get this first down. Not only are they get the first down, they got the touchdown that gave them a bigger lead, 2-possession lead. And look at that time of possession, only 10 minutes. So I mean, it was pretty close, I gotta say. And yeah, moving on, and I just want to say we're under 40 minutes until kickoff for Clemson and Duke. All right, SEC blowout time. Alabama and Georgia both had really, really good games. Well, I mean, they were slow start the first half, but the second half they took over. Alabama won 56-7, and Georgia won 48-7. But on to the Pac-12 we go. Even though they're not going to be conference next year, they really should be, because they went undefeated week 1 this weekend. USC finally getting things together. Defense looked better in the second half. They did. It was 7-7 at one point, but 66-14 was their win, and Washington wins 56-19 over Boise State. Also, Ohio State had a little trouble today getting their offense going, but they did manage to win 23 to Indiana. Indiana was a good team, I'll say that, so I'll give them credit on that for struggling a little bit, but they did get the win. Wisconsin, although it was close. I think Buffalo had the lead at some point, maybe in at halftime, I'm not sure, but Wisconsin got things done in the second half, 38-17. The pattern I noticed this year is all the ranked teams that won over the weekend, they struggled the first half. That's really the trend of week 1, is every team struggles their first game until you finally, at halftime, you make adjustments based on what you did, and it's like, oh, okay, we're doing this wrong, and then make adjustments, and then you look like the team you're supposed to look like. And then I already talked about this, but yep, upset alert time. Beep beep beep. I'll do more of that on down this tomorrow. But yeah, Colorado pulled up a big upset over TCU. The big one that surprised me is Fresno State beating Purdue. Wow, what happened to Purdue? Purdue used to be really good defense, but obviously they allowed 39 points, so what are you going to do about that? And then another one, this game went to overtime. Northern Illinois beat Boston College 27-24, and Texas State, the big one, and their head coach did the similar thing that Coach Prime did, where doing a lot of transfers, basically fresh roster. It beat Baylor 42-31. The announcers kept saying, "Oh, Baylor will show up. They'll show up. They'll get things together." They never did. Texas State kept rolling and rolling. All right, and then we had games last night. Rutgers beat Northwestern 24-7, and Oregon State put a beat down on St. Joe State 42-17. All right, well, game of the week time. All right, so our game of the week. Yep, this is going to be a big one. Texas and Alabama. Saturday, 6 o'clock on ESPN. This is going to be a big one, although we don't know the ranking yet, but both these are likely going to be in the top 10. Well, Texas might. They're actually 11 right now, but I could see them staying at 11, but I wouldn't be surprised if they put them in the 10 spot. But, yeah. Gonna be a big game for both the two teams. I think the winner will probably likely win their conference, and the loser probably, well, if Alabama loses, I think Georgia or Tennessee will probably win the conference. If Texas loses, it's either going to be Oklahoma or Kansas State. All right, let's take a look at my rankings real quick compared to the AP rankings. The same one it's been last week, but real quick. But my new rankings will come out tomorrow. Well, really come out probably after the Clemson and Duke game tonight, but I'll have a full rankings about my how I made my rankings tomorrow on Down and Distance and compare it to AP ranking. AP ranking will come out Tuesday, tomorrow. All right, now we got some Monday Night College football to talk about. Clemson versus Duke. Just 30 minutes away from kickoff. Clemson a 13-point favorite, and if I were to pick a team to win this, it's going to be Clemson. I'm picking Clemson to win this game. They are going to win huge. But again, just like all the other teams, they're going to struggle. Duke's going to be very competitive, and they're at home too. Clemson's on their own. I think it's going to be close. I really think that Clemson's first point will probably likely be a field goal. Duke might score a touchdown early, so there might be a point. Duke has the lead like 7-3 at one point, and then Clemson scores, takes up 10-3, and then that would probably be the halftime score. Would be like 10-3, or possibly like it might be 10-3, or likely 17-3 at some point, and then at halftime, and then the second half, Clemson will totally take over. Clemson will probably have way over 30 points by halftime. All right, well, thanks for listening to my podcast, and I hope you liked the new rules, because, the new rules this year really don't make that much of a difference. A lot of people don't like time things. I think, give me a couple weeks, and I'll give you my thoughts about it. But anyway, yeah, thanks for listening or watching my podcast, and guys, see you next week or tomorrow.
This is the Slater Report Podcast.